So this safety switch was not connected. This safety switch also was not connected. Alright guys, so this AC not cooling coil turned out to be a bit of an ambush. I kind of sensed it the moment I walked in. And hey, sorry about the background noise throughout this video. First we had a call for no cooling. First thing I noticed, there is water on the bottom. Take a look at this. The evaporator coil is completely frozen over. To make things worse, the drain pipe is also clogged. See that white gunk sitting in the pan? That's algae, slime, whatever you want to call it. And it's not good at all. Let me explain why. Algae like that isn't just nasty to look at. It can cause real problems. First, it is a potential health issue. Also, it can travel through the drain pipe and clog it completely, causing the AC to flood. If this happens in an attic installation, you're looking at water damage and possible mold growth. And that's not easy or cheap repair. And just because you did not have algae this year, doesn't mean you won't have it next year. A lot of folks ask me where this stuff comes from, and it is that simple. Things like human hair, skin flakes, breadcrumbs, dead bugs, pet's hair. Anything airborne will travel through the ductwork. Some get caught in the air filter, but some make it to the evaporator coil and to the drain pipe. And with the constant moisture from the condensation, you've got the perfect recipe for algae to grow. Unfortunately, there is no permanent fix for it, but flushing your condensation pipe at least once a year can help prevent clogs. Back to the frozen coil. When you see frozen pattern like this one, it is usually an airflow issue. It is not a refrigeration issue. So I went through the usual checklist. I checked the air filters, looked for duct restrictions, and inspected the blower. Right away, I noticed that the ductwork wasn't great. Flex ducts were lying on the floor, snagged around with sharp bends, and a bunch of them were crushed under household items. This one here is snaked around and is probably restricted. This one could be part of the restriction. That's the last one over there. I see this all the time, so I can guarantee you this is part of the problem. People stacking stuff on their duct without realizing it restricts airflow. I moved as much as I could and then headed to check the blower. It is relatively clean, but I'm gonna try to clean it a little bit more. But let me pause here for a second. Like I said, this call was an ambush. After I added the disconnect switch on the main line and started working on the blower, I got zapped. Turns out one of the white wires was carrying line voltage. And it's not 120 volts like you would expect from a white wire. This one was 220 volt circuit. It still blows my mind when electricians use a white wire for L2 without labeling it. But hey, that's partly on me for not testing my voltage before working on circuits. Lesson learned. Always verify voltage before touching anything. Anyway, I checked the blower setting, and sure enough, it was set to the highest CFM available. So what could still be the issue? The homeowner told me the filter was just changed. At this point, I always check system capacity. And as you can see here, the outdoor unit is 3 tons. And the indoor unit is a good match at 3 tons as well. So could the problem be an undersized filter? It is not common, but I often check. Let's lay down the rules of thumb. You need at least 1 square foot of filter surface area per ton of cooling. That's the bare minimum. But in my experience, and I've done air filters work for over 15 years, a much better setup is about 2 square feet per ton. That lowers the air velocity through the air filter, reducing pressure drop and helping airflow. But you've got to know what you're doing when you upsize like that. Now, let's check the installed filters. It's 12-inch by 30-inch filter. If we convert that to feet and do the math, that's 2.5 square feet. And for 3-ton system, you should have at least 3 square feet. Bingo. That's the major contributing factor to this frozen coil. Now I'll show you a few common air handler filter setup, especially for basement or vertical installations. Before I start, I would like to address a misconception. Pleated air filters do not restrict airflow. Poor design restricts airflow. Up here in the top left corner is the typical setup. A 1-inch filter. It's basic and it works, but it's far away from ideal. Top right hand corner, a better option. A 2-inch filter. Sometimes it's an easy upgrade if the unit allows it. Bottom left, even better. 4-inch pleated filter. This one usually requires a little bit of duct modification, but it makes a huge difference in airflow and filter lifespan. And finally, bottom right, a custom setup using 2 filters side by side. I call it parallel configuration. As long as you increase the total surface area, you're in a good shape. Important note that I would like to mention. For residential application, never ever put 2 filters in series, one behind the other. That will restrict airflow too much and will cause AC to freeze. Between the shown configurations, the bottom 2 configurations are better. Which one is best depends on your available space and how much filter surface area you can get in. Alright, next I will go over the system refrigerant charge. That's the system. It's a 3-tonner. So these are I did not go deep into the refrigerant side of things, but just so you know, the system had plenty of charge. It is common misconception that low refrigerant is always to blame for frozen coils. In reality, about 60% of frozen ACs issues come down to airflow problems. Here is the thing. Air filter play a huge role in that. Unfortunately, they are one of the most misunderstood part of an AC system. There is a lot of bad advice floating around. I see that all the time. And those crushed flex ducts, big deal. They restrict airflow so badly, it's no wonder system freeze up and stop cooling. In this case, the homeowner decided not to fix the underlying issue since they're selling the place soon. Anyway, I hope you guys found this one helpful. Maybe you picked up a tip or two for your system, or at least you'll know what to look for. As always, I drop something useful, resourceful, and links in the description if you want to dig deeper. Thanks for watching, and feel free to drop a comment or question below. I read them all. Stay tuned for the next one.